You want to be a guest? Tell them what you have to say. Hey everyone, welcome back to Tori Talks 20s. Last week we talked about me moving out on my own at 19 and then everything that kind of followed and transpired after that to 2020. Now I'm going to be talking about my experience from 20 to 21, having to move out of the apartment and living with my grandparents and everything in between that. So we're just going to go ahead and dive into it. So after I moved out of my apartment, the only place that I could really go was my mima and my papa's. They're my grandparents, that's what I call them, and I'm just going to call them mima and papa. If you remember from last week, I was saying that my mima had a really bad fall and it left her bedridden in what will be for the rest of her life. So it was kind of me helping out with that situation. And then I also got a job right up the road from her house with my aunt at a barbecue restaurant, another barbecue restaurant. So things seemed to be kind of looking up. I was having a good time for the most part at the beginning. A lot of my friends would come over. I was like in the middle of like everyone that I knew, so it was a lot easier to hang out with people that I knew. School was going really well. I was finding my groove. I was like feeling really confident. I was finally doing hair. Like I thought like the apartment was a pushback, but this is going to be fine. We're going to go into brighter days. That is not what happened. I lost my mima, unfortunately, and we can go further and deeper into that like in another episode in grief itself, because honestly we could spend the next 3 hours talking about it. But I lost my mima, which was really, really hard, and as a result of that I did not want to go to school. So I went to school the next day after I found out that she had passed, and like kind of broke down, and they were like, you're fine, just take as much time as you need to. So I was planning to do exactly that. And I don't know, I did take a lot of time off, I'm not gonna lie. That was a really hard loss for me. But I just remember after like a second week of like laying in my bed crying, I was being told that I was no longer on the attendance sheet and that I need to go back to school or else I will be kicked out of the program. And by this point, I've already completed over 50% of it, which, if my math is correct, it'd be like 800 hours of school, because that's how they accumulated everything, was hours you were there. I was behind where I needed to be in order to be in the program, obviously. But it was really hard for me because I had just lost such a major role model, like someone who made such an impact on my life. Now they're no longer here. Like, that was a really hard adjustment. So I went back to school and I tried to get a leave of absence, but they told me that there was no way that I could qualify for that just because of how many students were already on a leave of absence. So that kind of forced me back into school, which in hindsight was a blessing, girl. Let's be so real, I needed to get in and out of there as soon as possible. So the longer I was prolonging it, the longer it would take me to get my licensing for hair. And at the end of it, I did have to make up like a month worth of time because I was leaving at lunch because I couldn't handle it. I will say I was in a really dark place because I was trying to grieve, but I didn't know how to necessarily. So it brings me into like this really nasty thought process, and it's really sad to admit it. I don't want to say I didn't know what to believe in, but it was just really hard to know that she was okay. And so it was like I was praying that I could get a sign, and I just felt like I wasn't being answered for some reason. It was weird. So I went through a really hard struggle of my like core beliefs. What do I believe in? Started dabbling into like some new age tarot readings, trying to like just try to get some guidance any way that I could, which it really was impacted by someone that I was friends with that was into all of the new age spirituality. I'm not trying to like downplay what someone might believe in, but for me it kind of hindered me. And I was in such a dark place, so I really didn't care about hurting people's feelings. Like, me and my mom weren't speaking because she wasn't acknowledging the fact that we were all grieving, and it was kind of, I don't want to say a pity party for her, but let's call it how I see it. Also a time of establishing boundaries. I feel like you're going to hear me say that a lot because it changes in so many different aspects. Like, this was a boundary of almost recognize me as a human being. I lost someone too. See, we're going back to the whole grief thing because it really was such an impactful part of my life. But I also had really great friends at that time. Some of my closest friends, Chloe and JoJo, and my sister-in-law Haley, would come and get me out the house and force me to go to the gym, or force me to go to Chili's, and like just try to have a good time. And I always respected and loved that about them. They never left my side. So during that process, I did find people who truly do love and care for me. Like, those will always be my homies because I know we got each other's back through thick and thin. But although I had like a really good support system and I had a lot of good memories with them and also like some embarrassing moments, I also went through some toxic relationships. I had a lot of people who left. Some of my friends and I were friends just because we wanted to like party. And we weren't really good influences on each other, like looking back on it. People also didn't want to be my friend because of the way that I was acting. Maybe I'm not giving the energy that I need to give to be that loyal, kind, loving person that I think I am, which was kind of like a slap to the face. That made me a better friend to my friends who decided to stick around, or the people that I may have met after that. And it sucks that those people had to leave my life in order to teach me that lesson, but I feel like that's also a part of life. Not everybody is meant for the long journey. They're just meant for your short term, like in the moment. Because it's just a blimp in time. When it's all said and done, it's just, even looking back on it now, 2, 3 years later, it's just a blimp in time. So everything happens for a reason. If you're going through that right now, a season of people, toxic relationships, you don't really know why certain friendships aren't working, just try to keep in mind that everything will play out the way it's supposed to. I know you've probably heard that from your parents. If not, you're hearing it from me. These people who are meant to stay in your life will stay in your life, and it goes for friendships, relationships, anything, careers. If it's meant for you, it'll stay with you. 100% is what I believe in. There was also a lot of like late night loneliness, but in a different aspect other than living alone. It wasn't like, oh, I'm alone. If someone were to break in, I'm by myself. No, it was like, I'm in this house that my grandma helped raise me in. It feels like something is missing alone. And then there was also the guilt of I'm still here. That would keep me up at night, or like I'm abusing the life that I'm having because of the lifestyle that I was living at that time, which I had a good time. Like, don't get me wrong, reflecting on it, I had a pretty good early 20s, but it also, it's a balancing. It could also be really fun, but it could also have been really detrimental to who I am and all the life lessons that I had to learn, go through of, oh wow, 2 a.m. I have to be at school at 8, but I'm just still laying here just thinking about how I basically just got evicted. I just lost my grandma. I lost a relationship. Not really sad about it, but it still kind of hurts. Like, let's be honest. I was having fun. I was going to the gym pretty excessively, like excessively to the point I would go for like 4 hours a day at like some degree. And I was the tiniest I've ever been, but it was so not healthy. And I'm going through this gym phase, and it's fun. Like, my friends are meeting me. I feel beautiful and confident, and I'm going through this I don't want a man phase as well because of what I went through in the past, kind of, and also what I was going through. I didn't want to add that on my plate. I was going through school, so I'm like 90% done with school. Everything's going really, really well. I didn't want no man. It's like the holiday time. And I don't know how he did it, but my boyfriend got me a man. So I meet him December 23rd. I know the date because it's my papa's birthday. So after my papa's birthday dinner, I went over and we watched Christmas movies and hung out. And then ever since then, we've been inseparable. So he kind of was the light of my tunnel, at the end of my tunnel. He kind of really readjusted the path that I needed to take in a sense. So I meet him around Christmas time of 23, 22, 22. And yeah, so Christmas time of 22, and we started dating the day after New Year's. So January 2nd, 2024. 3. I'm going to have to ask him on the dates, and then I'll clarify it because they really confuse me, especially our anniversary being like on the cusp of a new year. It's really hard for me. So I meet him. He really keeps me like in line with school because I honestly, like, as embarrassing as this may sound, I needed someone to kind of, I know you're having a hard day, girl, but get to it. Let's get that license. Let's get you out of school because that's important. So he was very much trying to keep me on the right track. He was very just supportive. That's a really good word for that era of me and my boyfriend. He was just supportive of the grief, like me randomly getting upset because of like a sign that I seen or a road that we rode down. Like, he was just very understanding and compassionate of everything that I was grieving. Like, not just my grandma, but like my apartment, like some of my freedom, some of my relationships, like me and my mom still aren't talking. Like, there's a lot that happens, and he's just been so supportive during it. So he keeps me in line with school, and his family is also very supportive of me, and it makes me realize I can kind of start leaning into this more, so I kind of do. And I don't regret it. Let me just put that out there. I don't regret it. I love them. They've just been so welcoming and supportive of me, which is really important in a relationship, guys. So he's supporting me like through school. Emotionally, he's doing a great job of like trying to keep me grounded, and then also kind of nudging at the fact that like maybe this is the way you're supposed to be treated. You're capable of like love from everyone just as you give it. And he kind of helped me realize he's right. Like, I can make this life whatever I want to make it. Like, whatever, if I wanted to pack up my bags and move across the country, I could do it. That's the kind of mindset he was giving me. I'm not saying that's something I would have done, but anything was on the table, like I could do anything was the mindset that he put me in. Was so beautiful. It made me feel so capable of life. So from this time of moving out of my apartment and moving in with my grandparents, I learned so many lessons. We've learned that not even family can cross our boundaries, that a part of that is we are human and we deserve the basic love and respect too, Say from, this whole era of me moving in and up until this point of meeting my boyfriend, we had a lot of life experience and lessons learned. I mean, we, go through a loss of a place of our own, which was heartbreaking, and then not too long we lose our Mima, who's almost like a mother figure, and it feels like your chest has been ripped out of you. And then you learn how to cope with that on a day-to-day basis of getting up, getting ready for school, going to work, and doing all of the basic necessities to have a kind of quality of life, I guess you could say. I don't know if that's something that would match what I'm trying to express. If not, sorry guys. Another lesson that I learned was not everybody that you meet and you vibe with is meant to stay with you. Some people are just meant for the now, and that's okay. That the now is a beautiful memory that we can have in the grand scheme of things. That blip in time can be so beautiful that we had, and we can look back on the happy memories, not necessarily the falling out, but we can be happy together that we got to know each other and experience some time on this crazy earth, and that's something to kind of be proud of, right? Got evicted, lost my grandma, almost got kicked out of school, but then I met my boyfriend and he was so wonderful and turned everything around and really got me into the headspace that I'm in, and I really want to help whoever I can get into that headspace. Next week we have a really fun episode planned for you guys. I'm so excited to share it with you, but until then, remember, life is messy and you got this.